Have you ever noticed how the world seems to treat you the way you treat yourself? It's almost like a mirror, reflecting back the energy you project. And here's the truth: no one, not your boss, not your friends, not strangers online, truly knows your worth. Only you do. The moment you start believing in yourself, something fascinating happens. Others begin to follow your lead. If you walk into a room with quiet confidence, people sense it. They see you as someone worth respecting. But if you constantly second-guess yourself, worrying about what others might think, they'll sense that too. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's not about never failing, never being rejected, or never making mistakes. True confidence is knowing that even when you stumble, you'll still be okay. When you trust yourself to handle anything, you stop fearing everything. And when that fear disappears, you become untouchable. Most people spend their lives chasing approval without even realizing it. They dress a certain way, speak a certain way, act a certain way, all to avoid judgment. But here's the problem: when your happiness depends on approval, you've handed over control of your emotions. If people praise you, you feel good. If they criticize you, you feel crushed. If they ignore you, you start questioning your worth. That's a dangerous way to live, because it keeps your peace of mind at the mercy of someone else's opinion. But let's get real. What people think of you has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with them. They see you through the lens of their own insecurities, experiences, and biases. One person may think you're brilliant, while another thinks you're ordinary. Which one is right? Neither, because opinions are not facts. They're just reflections of the person giving them. And once you truly understand that, you stop taking them so seriously. From a young age, we're trained to chase approval, gold stars, good grades, pats on the back. But there comes a point when you must break free. Living for approval is a losing game. Because no matter how kind, hardworking, or genuine you are, someone will always find a reason to criticize you. So why waste your energy trying to please everyone? Why base your confidence on something so fragile? The moment you stop seeking validation, everything changes. You begin making decisions based on what you truly want, not on what will impress others. You stop overthinking how you appear. You stop walking on eggshells. And ironically, that's when people respect you most, because they can sense that you don't need their validation to feel secure. Confidence is magnetic. The more grounded you are in yourself, the more others are naturally drawn to you. Now, does this mean you should ignore feedback? Absolutely not. Growth comes from learning. But there's a big difference between considering constructive feedback and depending on approval. One helps you grow, the other keeps you trapped. The key is filtering what you let in. If feedback helps you improve, keep it. If it's just noise, let it go. And here's the real power in letting go of external validation. You become immune to manipulation. People can't guilt trip you, pressure you, or control you when their opinions no longer define your worth. You stop fearing rejection. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself. And in that moment, you become truly free. Because at the end of the day, this life is yours, not your parents', not your friends', not society's, yours. The real question is, are you going to live it for yourself? Or for the fleeting approval of people who might not even care tomorrow? Once you answer that, nothing and no one will ever bother you again. In the last part, we talked about how letting go of external validation makes you untouchable, because when your confidence comes from within, no opinion can control you. But there's another layer to this: the way you choose to see and respond to situations. Think about it. Why let something small steal your peace today, when in the long run it won't even matter? Most of the things that upset us are temporary, fleeting, and often insignificant. The problem is, we forget to zoom out. We get so caught up in the moment that we let trivial things weigh us down. But when you step back and take a wider perspective, you start to realize that most of your stress is nothing more than background noise. It's easy to blame others for how we feel. Someone cuts us off in traffic and we say, "They made me mad." A coworker throws a rude comment and suddenly we claim, "They ruined my whole day." But here's the truth. No one has that kind of power over you, unless you hand it to them. No one can force you to feel anger, frustration, or irritation without your permission. And once you fully grasp that, you become unshakable. Ask yourself this: Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the exact same situation but react in completely different ways? One person shrugs off an insult as if it never happened, while the other replays it in their head for days. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in how they processed it. That's the key. How you respond to life is always your choice. People often say, "I can't help it. If someone disrespects me, I just explode." But that isn't true. What's really happening is that you've built a habit of reacting a certain way. And like any habit, it can be changed. Imagine if, every time someone tried to push your buttons, you simply paused for one brief second. That tiny moment creates space. It gives you the power to breathe, to step back, and to decide, is this even worth my energy? And most of the time, the answer is no. Here's a simple way to see it. Suppose someone walks up to you with a gift, but you refuse to take it. Who does the gift belong to? It stays with them, doesn't it? The same principle applies to negativity. If someone offers you anger, criticism, or insults, you don't have to accept them. You can leave them where they are. That's their baggage, not yours. Now, this doesn't mean you allow people to walk all over you, or that you tolerate disrespect. It simply means you don't let other people dictate your peace of mind. If someone tries to offend you and you refuse to be offended, who actually loses? They do, because their goal was to drag you down. And it didn't work. Think about the strongest, most respected people you know. Are they the ones who snap at every little provocation? Or are they the ones who remain calm, composed, and unshaken no matter what happens? True strength isn't about yelling the loudest, it's about being immovable. It's about controlling your emotions, instead of being controlled by them. And here's where it gets even more powerful. When you stop letting things bother you, people lose their grip on you. That coworker who feeds off your reaction, the moment they see you don't care, they'll stop trying. That person who criticizes you to get under your skin, when they realize their words bounce right off, they either change their approach or they disappear. Why? Because people only have as much influence as you allow them to. It's like when a child throws a tantrum, you don't get angry at them, because you know they don't understand any better. You don't take it personally. Now imagine applying that same perspective to adults. What if, instead of taking offense, you saw their negativity as a reflection of who they are, not who you are? Suddenly, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. At the end of the day, life becomes so much lighter when you realize that you, not your boss, not your family, not strangers on the internet, are in charge of your emotions. When you master that truth, you'll never be easily shaken again. Confidence becomes like armor. With it, the words and actions of others can't pierce you. Without it, every little comment feels like a personal attack. That's why some people are constantly offended, always on edge, and forever feeling disrespected. It's not because the world is against them. It's because deep down, they aren't fully secure in themselves. Think about it. When was the last time someone's words really got under your skin? Why did it bother you? Was it because what they said was undeniably true, or was it because a part of you feared it might be? That's the hidden truth. Insults only sting when they touch a wound that already exists. If you called a lion weak, it wouldn't flinch. Why? Because it knows what it is. It doesn't need validation. But call an insecure person weak, and they'll lash out, not because they're weak, but because they haven't fully convinced themselves that they're strong. This is why building confidence is the ultimate key to freedom. When you believe in yourself, you stop craving approval. You don't need people to like you. You don't need their opinions to define your worth. And the very moment you stop needing it, you become untouchable. Because here's the reality. Most people try to drag others down just to make themselves feel bigger. But when you refuse to be shaken, when you stay grounded in who you are, their power over you completely disappears. Remember, confidence is not arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing that you have nothing to prove. A confident person doesn't feel the need to fight every battle, to argue over every point, or to defend themselves against every little criticism. They know who they are, and that's enough. And once you reach that level of self-assurance, life gets so much easier. You stop overthinking, you stop doubting, and you stop wasting time on what other people think of you. In the last part, we saw how confidence works like armor, protecting you from negativity and keeping you unshaken. Now, let's go a step further. What happens when you stop taking things personally? You stop letting small comments turn into big problems. But here's the truth: confidence isn't something you're simply born with. It's something you build, piece by piece, decision by decision. Every time you stand firm in your choices, every time you refuse to let someone else's negativity define you, you reinforce it. Think of it like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes, and the stronger it gets, the harder it is for anything or anyone to shake you. So how do you start building this muscle? The very first step is simple: stop seeking approval. The moment you realize you don't need validation from others, you take back control of your life. If someone criticizes you, let them. If someone doubts you, let them. Their opinion doesn't change your reality. And here's the irony: when you stop caring so much about what people think, that's exactly when they begin to respect you more. Of course, shifting your perspective isn't always easy in the heat of the moment, but it's a skill worth mastering. The next time something annoys you, pause for just a second and ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And the more often you practice this, the more you train yourself to zoom out, to see the bigger picture. That's when you become truly unshakable. Because at the end of the day, it's not about controlling what happens around you. It's about controlling how you interpret it. And once you master that skill, nothing and no one can bother you again. Here's a simple truth most people overlook: if you don't take something seriously, it can't hurt you. Think about it. The things that sting the most are usually the ones we give the most importance to. If someone insults you and you take it personally, it cuts deep. But if you laugh it off, if you treat it as meaningless noise, it loses all of its power. That's why humor and indifference are two of the greatest shields you can carry through life. They make you untouchable. On the other hand, people who are easily offended, constantly on edge, and always searching for reasons to be upset, those are the ones who suffer the most. Not because the world is any harsher toward them, but because they absorb everything like a sponge instead of letting negativity bounce off. And let's be real, negativity will always exist. There will always be people who criticize, annoy, or try to provoke you. The real question is, are you going to let them succeed? Or are you going to rise above it? When you learn to laugh at what was meant to hurt you, you take away its sting. When you stop feeding energy into nonsense, nonsense stops affecting you. If someone tries to drag you down, don't fight them, smile and move on. That doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you ignore real problems. It simply means you stop wasting your precious energy on things that don't deserve it. Because here's the truth: most people who try to upset you aren't doing it because of you. They're doing it because of them, because they're unhappy, insecure, or desperate for attention. When you react, you give them exactly what they want. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to play their game, you leave them powerless. And nothing frustrates a person more than realizing they can't get to you. This is where indifference becomes even more powerful. If humor is your shield, indifference is your armor. When you reach the point where other people's negativity doesn't even register, when you stop needing to respond, to prove a point, or to win meaningless battles, that's real strength. Some people think ignoring negativity is weakness. It's not. It's control. It's the wisdom of knowing your peace of mind is worth more than a temporary argument. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every battle is worth fighting. And not every opinion needs to be challenged. Some things are better left alone, not because you can't respond, but because responding would be a waste of your time and energy. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, don't give them the satisfaction. Smile, shrug, and walk away. Because the moment you stop letting little things get to you, the moment you learn to laugh at nonsense and remain indifferent to it, that's the moment you become untouchable. Some people believe strength is about always winning, always proving themselves, always making sure everyone knows they're right. But real strength looks very different. Real strength is the ability to walk away when something isn't worth your peace. It's valuing your energy more than your pride. It's knowing that your time is far too precious to waste on meaningless debates or endless arguments. The need to always be right is one of the biggest traps people fall into. It pulls them into pointless conflicts, drains their energy, and leaves them frustrated over things that won't matter in the long run. How many times have you seen two people argue back and forth about something trivial? Neither one willing to let it go? At the end of it, does anyone really win? Even if you win the argument, what do you actually gain? An exhausted mind, a damaged relationship, a wasted hour. That's not victory, that's ego. Letting go of the need to win every argument doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It shows that you value peace more than pride. It shows you understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every mind can be changed. Some people argue just to argue. Some are so set in their ways that no amount of logic will ever reach them. And some only want to get a reaction. The best thing you can do? Don't give them one. When you refuse to engage in negativity, you strip it of its power. People can only argue with you if you argue back. They can only disturb your peace if you let them in. But the moment you decide your energy is too valuable for petty conflicts, everything changes. It takes maturity to stay silent when your ego wants to lash out. It takes wisdom to walk away when your pride wants to stay and fight. But the reward is freedom, the freedom to live unbothered, unshaken, and at peace, no matter what's happening around you. So the next time someone tries to drag you into an argument, ask yourself, if I engage in this, what do I really gain? Most of the time, the answer is nothing. No peace, no progress, just wasted time. But when you choose to let it go, when you step away from the chaos instead of diving into it, you win something far more valuable, control over yourself. And when you have that, nothing and no one can ever bother you again.